Tonight on the show, we're playing Kult Divinity Lost with Mitch from Helmgast. Stick around. It's victory condition game. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. My name is Doug. Today on the show, we're playing Kult Divinity Lost with Mitch. Thank you, Mitchell, for coming back on and being a part of the show again.
Oh, anytime. I love this place. I think I live here now.
Hey, if you want to have your mail forwarded to it, absolutely.
That's fine. I'll
give you the form. Before we begin, there are a couple things that I would ask everyone to do. The first thing is check out the Kickstarter in the description below. If you find any entertainment value out of this actual play, check that out. The Cult, you guys are doing an awesome job on that Kickstarter. You're just rocking the funding goals and knocking off stretch goal after stretch goal, and it's amazing how much you've achieved so far. Awesome! Look at that beautiful book. The other thing I'm going to ask you to do is, if you are a fan of Kult, hit the like button down below, and that helps this actual play get noticed a little more. And we also want to, help Helmgast get Kult noticed on YouTube and all the social medias. Also, if you're coming across our channel for the first time, hit that subscribe button if you would. We'd really greatly appreciate it. It also helps us out quite a bit. And also hit that little bell notification that'll let you know every single time we go live. Today, we've got an incredible cast. Let's bring them all on.
The best.
We do have the best. We have Amanda Call from ageofnight.com.
Hello.
We have Margaret on again.
Hello.
We have Josh from Halloweenville on YouTube.
Hello.
Everybody, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this session. Now that I've introduced everyone, I'm just going to condense the show into this little ball and chuck it over Mitchell's way.
Oh gosh, okay, I got it. It's just like in high school, right?
It bounced off your head, but you got it on the bounce, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, put it right here. I'll just put it right here. It's fine. It's on my desk. It's cool. It's cool. So yeah, guys, we are going to have an amazing night as we dive into Seven Sisters, which is one of the scenarios that you can back in our Kickstarter, which is going to be super cool, written by some of the original creators of Kult. So a lot of amazing lore in this, a lot of cool stuff. So you guys are in for a real treat. They've already picked their characters. And of course, you know what? I think we are about ready to hop in there. On one note, for everyone listening and for the people playing, we are using the X card. So if anything feels or just anything makes you uncomfortable, feel free to either ping myself, Doug, via the chat or other avenues, or you can just sign an X. And we're going to skip over that thing no matter what it is. Safety is always a huge priority for us over at Helmgast, and we love telling dark stories, but we want to make sure everyone has fun at the table. So yeah, awesome stuff, guys. So we are hopping over to Berlin. This scenario kind of set 1945, just about 2 months before the city is taken by the Red Army. Each person here has a very important part to play in the following nights. And no doubt, you are going to see some horrific things. Or not. It's really kind of up to you guys. So it's about the end of February. Berlin is partially, but not completely destroyed from the Allied bomb raids. There's destruction everywhere, especially around the eastern parts of the city. Refugees are fleeing from East Prussia to escape the Red Army. And Soviet forces will soon launch an attack against Berlin within a couple of months, and kind of everything goes downhill for Germany after that. Nazi leadership is kind of holding on to the lies that they are going to be successful. So a lot of propaganda during this time, despite the German soldiers starving and dying. It's really a dark time for everyone. So yeah. So a couple of you guys are already in Berlin, but a few of you are actually going to be approached. So I know, let's see, Richard and let's see. I know Felix is already there, so we're going to kind of come to you in a little bit. But yeah, Richard and Cecil, you two are kind of asked to come in by your chief of MI6 in London. Of course, this is all under the table. You come in with regular clothes via kind of a side entrance into a darkened room with a globe as well as a map of the world kind of hanging on the wall. There's a man, an officer, of course, who has his hat just kind of off to the side, drinking a little bit of whiskey as well as smoking a cigarette as he looks at you two as you approach. And with that, why don't you guys describe kind of who you are and what you guys look like?
Go ahead, Richard.
So Richard, I'm Richard Farley. I'm 29. I'm an Englishman, I guess, and my father was English. My mother was Italian. Pretty much working class kind of family, and I'm just kind of brown hair and kind of nondescript. Just like an average looking guy, pretty much. I guess is probably the way. No facial hair, just kind of tidy, nice looking clothes, but not real nice. But they're clean.
Nice. All right. How about you, Cecil?
So I'd be a tall feller, dark hair, clean shaven, kind of not like a mean, but a very strong look on his face, very serious, willing to throw anyone under the bus to complete the mission kind of guy. He doesn't say much. He's well dressed.
All right. So the man kind of clears his throat as he looks upon you, smoking a cigarette. And the smoke kind of wafts up to the ceiling and catches on some of the wallpaper as he looks at you two, nestling back into the squeaky chair. We're almost done with the war, it looks like. But I'm sad to say you two have one last mission.
Go on with it.
Ready to serve your country again?
Always.
Absolutely.
Excellent. He gets up and, he kind of groans from the cracking of his knees. You're going to go into Berlin to find a Nicholas Lofton. Undercover agent has been working in Berlin, sending us information for the past couple of months. Recently, he has gone MIA. We have reason to believe he is still alive. We have a contact in Berlin, and he kind of goes through a couple of files as he's trying to find the name. A Isabel, who we have the address to, and he kind of slips you guys a piece of paper with kind of an charcoal penciled map, as well as kind of an address within Berlin.
Okay.
So the last person we know who has been in contact with Mr. Lofton. We're going to be parachuting you guys in during a aerial raid, so for the most part, you'll be safe. We have a contact there, a Felix Bauer, who you will be joining up with to assist you on the ground. You have any questions?
What do we know about this Felix Bauer character?
Felix Bauer has been working with us for some time. He's someone you could trust. That's all you need to know.
I don't trust anyone.
I don't know.
Trust
The name
you, nothing.
Felix sounds pretty shady.
Well, you are not one to question. You are one to perform your duty to your country as best as you can.
That's
You
right.
understand?
For the Queen.
Excellent. Felix will also have several papers and information that will be beneficial to you. So, you have, and he looks at his watch, you have the afternoon. This evening, 7:30, you were to rendezvous at the airport, and they will begin your journey to Berlin.
Just enough time to get a martini.
If you say so,
Shaken, not stirred.
Mr. Cecil.
I had to.
There always needs to be a 007 reference.
Exactly. When I saw MI6, I was like, oh.
Excellent. So you guys, how do you guys spend like the next couple of hours? I mean, you were being dropped into Berlin during a very heated time. Are you afraid? Are you know, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking about?
I'm excited, but I'm also nervous at the same time. Packing all my stuff up to go on this mission. But yeah, I'm always ready for action.
As I sit drinking my martini, give it a little swirl, I have somewhat of a flashback of a situation a long time ago where I had to do some terrible things. And I'm just kind of dwelling on that for the moment.
You're at a bar drinking alone?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bartender there kind of pours you a refill for your current drink, whatever it may be, as he kind of corks the bottle and says, you look like a man who's kind of thinking of something a little, probably too much for this hour.
I've seen things. I've seen terrible things. I've helped cover up those terrible things. But I'll make it right one day.
You know, I think about half the people who come into this bar say something similar. I think almost everyone who drinks is kind of trying to push away some memories back. I don't mean to be a downer or anything, but I haven't heard of anyone who was successful. So that's why the free drink.
And I'll raise up the glass and nod as I chug it back, stand up, out to the mission to go meet at the plane.
Excellent. So we're going to kind of go over to Felix. Felix, kind of describe who your character is. What does he look like and such?
Okay, so Felix Bauer is a Berliner. He's 49 years old. He's a kind of shorter man, but not portly. His face is a little thin. He's got some gray in his hair, a little bit of gray in his beard. And he has kind of bigger shoulders. He looks like a guy who works for a living, maybe did some heavy lifting. in the past. He's wearing a heavy apron that's been stained with printer's ink. And he has kind of an air of sadness around him. He wouldn't be out of place at the bar you just described.
And as you're kind of, I guess, going about your daily business here, you kind of hear the ticking sounds of, the little in one of the corner rooms.
Okay, so I go to our. This isn't at the Printworks, or this isn't at something else in Berlin.
This is at the Printworks where you're at.
So so I guess at the Printworks in Nicole, he's going to he'll go to this room to investigate it and put down whatever he's doing.
Yeah, kind of hidden underneath a box, as well as kind of partly integrated into the desk, is this kind of coded message that you've been using to kind of receive messages from, as well as send to MI6. And in code, you receive kind of this long trail of different letters, which if anyone looks at it, it just kind of looks like gibberish. But you have like a code breaker hidden under the carpet. So it just takes a couple of minutes to translate.
Yep. Felix perks up immediately at a message from the British.
Yeah. It basically says that there are 2 incoming agents and you are to assist them. Rendezvous at kind of this forest area nearby tonight. You're supposed to gather materials for them, clothes, as well as cigarettes and such. Meet them out and help them accomplish their mission. Okay,
so he puts the code breaker away, hiding it, and then he puts away the printing things that he was carrying kind of messily, kind of glances to the Printworks basement, sighs, and then readies the supplies that his British compatriots are going to need and gets prepared to meet them.
Excellent. You hear a loud knocking at what's left of the door of your establishment. Just kind of pounding away at the door with very fierce aggression.
Okay, I go to the door.
On the other side, as you kind of peek over, you see a individual wearing the German Nazi uniform, black, with his cap at his side, thick glasses as he kind of peers at you through the shattered frame of the door.
Do I recognize this person?
You've seen him come and go. You know that he's kind of stationed in this place. Of late, he's been kind of pressing several of the German citizens here for extra food and supplies, saying, of course, it's for the army, but, who's to say? And you definitely kind of think he might be a little corrupt.
Okay. I open the door just a crack and I say, may I help you?
Yes, you may. Well, the army requires a bit of cigarettes, at least cotton.
I say, well, I don't have any. Come on, you know me. I've been a Nazi Party member since 1934. I've seen you around, but I don't think we've ever spoken.
No, it's there's plenty of people in the city who are not as faithful and kind of buy into the propaganda. It's unfortunate, but the Reich will continue, and it will continue forever on. Do you agree, Mr. Bauer?
He suppresses a sigh and says, of course, 1,000 years is what they say. But you'll have to look somewhere else for your cigarettes.
All right. Just know that right now, I'm being kind. Some of my compatriots, they will not be as kind as I am, and I hope, for your sake, that you might have some supplies for them.
Well, tell your compatriots I'll see what I can do. But for now, the printworks is closed.
All right, Mr. Bauer, you have a good day.
Okay.
He nods and places his cap back on his head and heads out.
I tip my hat to him and close the door. So I'm assuming I don't have very many cigarettes, and that coded message said that the British would need them.
Yep. Definitely. So we kind of tip over to Charlotte. Charlotte, you're kind of in a very unique position from the rest of everyone. So why don't you go ahead and describe who you are and stuff like that. We'll get on to it.
Right, so I'm playing Charlotte Weiss. She's 32. She's actually from Dresden, but is currently living in Berlin under an assumed name. Currently, she's going by the name of Natalie Schlossman. She tried to escape from Germany several years ago, and it did not go super well. So now she's living in Berlin under this assumed name, just trying to blend in. So her appearance is very much as average and unassuming as possible. She was working as a nurse, and so she's also just like super practical. Like her hair is always tied back in a neat bun, not a lot of makeup, very normal plain clothes. She's basically just trying to fade into the background everywhere that she goes.
Yeah. And Charlotte, you do have your sister Erna Wise.
Oh, okay. Erna is with me. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you guys have been kind of staying over at Mrs. Eisenberg's estate,
Yes.
which is fallen into disrepair. Definitely has been has taken some shells, so parts of the estate are destroyed. But you guys have this kind of nice furnished area off to the side, a couple of rooms.
We just closed the door to the shelled part. It's
Exactly,
fine.
right? Like that's not our.
We're just not going to worry about that right now.
Excellent. And you know also that Erna has been kind of going through the library here of Mrs. Eisenberg's. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and you hear whispering, but her lips aren't moving. Slight distortions of glass, and it almost seems at times to be nightmares. And maybe it is. Maybe it's just your kind of lack of sleep, the stress of everything that's gone on. You've seen some horrific things, but nonetheless, these last couple of months haven't been. I mean, they've been horrific, to say the least. And despite your kind of feelings and close proximity to your sister, you guys have been kind of drifting apart as she kind of dives into the literature here at the estate. She doesn't look like she slept a wink. And as you kind of wake up, or maybe you're drinking coffee or something, it's about 9 p.m. She's currently laying on this couch that kind of has half of the cushion missing. So she's on the good part as she reads a couple of books and looks over some maps. You can tell that there's dark circles under her eyes, kind of straining under candlelight to read what's in front of her. Her brown hair kind of falling over her face, disheveled. She hasn't taken a shower. I mean, neither of you guys have really bathed in a while. It's just kind of icky. Same dresses, same outfits. You guys have seen better days.
Life in a city under siege. Yay.
Exactly. So yeah, what do you do?
So if she's poring over some of her books right now.
Mm-hmm.
Erna, you need to be sure to get some sleep tonight. I don't think you ever came to bed last night. I'm concerned about you. You need some rest. You ever feel like sometimes you're
You're on a plank of wood drifting out on sea.
I think I know what you mean. It's very difficult to feel normal, to have a routine. You never leave the house. You never go out and do anything. At least I have some work.
What's there to do? I mean, look at our lives. Everything is riddled with mock. It's gross. It's corroded.
It's a hard time, but we've survived hard times before, and we're going to survive this too. You need to take care of yourself so you can. Maybe you should go out for a walk. Walk with me to work tomorrow and then walk home. Just spend some time outside and move around.
Okay. Yeah, I can. It might be nice to get a little bit of sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how you do it.
How I do what?
Get up, open your eyes every day.
Well, you can't open your eyes if you never close them. You need to make sure you get some sleep tonight.
Do you ever think about mom and dad?
Of course I do, all the time. It's hard not to, but I can't let those thoughts and feelings stop me from moving forward. We have to survive as much for them as for ourselves.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just at times I feel like a spool of thread, just kind of unwinding. Very much coming to the end of myself.
So I'm gonna reach out and just try to take the book and close it.
Yeah,
And
she very much kind of responds like almost a zombie. You know, she just no response. You see her eyes kind of drift over to you. There's a they're browned, and at one point in time you can kind of remember when you're kids pushing her on the swing. Those same eyes kind of sparkled with a kid's dreams and hopes and excitement for a world that was filled with imagination, love, and hope. And it's just kind of been scraped away like a dull blade, and it's just rusty and lacking of any sort of reflection. It's just gazes.
I'm gonna kind of just gently lean her back and say, "You need to lie down. You need to actually get some sleep tonight. I'll go get you a warm cup of milk, and you can go to sleep here. I'll watch over you. You'll be all right."
Okay. All right. And she leans down and kind of cuddles up on this couch, because it's normally a love seat with two cushions, but one of them it's half of it's destroyed, and she cuddles up this small little thing, looking smaller than you've probably ever seen her before. She hugs herself tightly. When you go and get milk, by the time you come back, as you're kind of walking down the hall, you can hear an audible kind of shivering cry coming from her that silences as you approach, and she seems to just be out. You see a couple of tear lines running down her cheek, kind of cleaning the dirt that's been smudged on it. But she's out.
Okay. I'll just kind of cover her up with a blanket and just kind of keep watch over her for a while.
Excellent. So in the we were kind of shifting over to Richard and Cecil. You guys are stuffed in the back of this very small plane. You can hear it bouncing around and shaking. It's something that's normally not used to transport people, and it has been a grueling amount of time getting to where you are now. You guys have been breathing on each other for the past like 8 hours, intermittently drinking water and kind of getting rations every now and then. But it's been pitch black except for a couple of holes that you're kind of wary of because they're small enough to look like bullet holes, and they're kind of where you are right now. But you can see kind of the clouds and everything, and right now it's night, but you can still see the lights lit up down below. You hear kind of among the roar of the engine of this plane, a guy yelling, most likely the pilot, hopefully the pilot, as he says, "Hey, we're about there at the rendezvous point. I'm just gonna drop you guys, but you know what? It's been a pleasure."
Yeah, just fantastic.
I'm just gonna give him the thumbs up. That's all I'm gonna do. Like,
excellent.
Richard, you're jumping first, right?
Heck yeah.
I want to make sure the parachute works.
And it's about that time, like the airplane starts to shake, as you guys can hear the deafening roars of a bombardment starting, kind of roars coming up from the ground. You see places beneath you where these explosions are occurring, hot fire spitting up from the earth, and then it's followed by what you see, kind of this whistling noise that seems to stream by you. It very much sounds like a stream, just kind of. And just right next to Richard, you notice several new holes, kind of next to where you are, cramped up in this little place, as you can kind of see a little bit more. So that's good. And then the guy's like, "All right, we're good.
We're good this. Wonderful."
The storage area underneath you just kind of dropping you guys, plummeting to the earth. But luckily, the MI6 prepares its agents with the appropriate parachutes.
I guess I'm not getting a cocktail on this flight.
I'm gonna do that cool thing where like you do like the head dive.
Yeah,
down, so you get like speed up a little bit faster as you're diving down.
Good.
Awesome.
Get right underneath me. You'll be a nice cushion.
Now I'll hit the ripcord like right at the last minute. That's because
I gotta one up him and get just underneath him and be like, pull it.
Yeah, you guys pull it. The wind kind of lifts you guys up, and you guys can still see some of the artillery fire being returned at the airplanes kind of soaring above you. And you know that these aren't like the small bullets that you're used to being they're used to having being fired at you. These are large caliber bullets that would just rip you asunder if it touches you. Probably one of you guys have seen this happen before, and it's not been something you want to replicate.
Not really.
It'd be very bad.
I'm sure the family jewels are up in the throat right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Felix, you, of course, I assume, head on over to the rendezvous spot using kind of a pair of binoculars. You can make out the plane, and then two kind of dark specks against the night sky start to fall, and then you definitely see the parachutes as they kind of expand and start heading down. So yeah, as you two finally touch down onto German soil, what are you guys doing? What's going through your head?
Instantly ditch the parachute and the harness right away. Like that. Yep. That should be the first thing to go. And then just kind of like, how you run down when you touch down on a parachute, and then, ditching off all the stuff. And then you just come to a walk, and you just come to that like swagger walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did that. I just jumped out of a plane, floated down. Here
No
I am.
biggie.
It was nothing.
Yeah, I'm going to land, take out the chute, and I'm just going to book to like the closest cover that I can find, and just kind of get out of anybody's view, just to try to, I don't want to be I don't want to be seen.
Definitely. So Felix, you know where to go. You kind of saw the approximate area that they're touching down. So feel free to make your way over there. The forest is dark, kind of it's if not for the bombardment, it would be eerily silent in this forest. But it's kind of been like that for a while. It just seems devoid of life. Sometimes it thinks that this war takes everything. But you can definitely, as you approach, see the remnants of a parachute kind of wrapped up against a limb. And yeah, you guys see Felix Bauer.
Okay.
Okay.
He's also carrying the clothes, cigarettes, everything that the message told him to. As he approaches.
Does Cecil and Richard have any type of weapons at all? I'm sure they wouldn't send us in like bare bones, would they?
Maybe they did.
Tell
Maybe they
me
would.
I'm carrying a Walter PPK.
Budget restraints. It's tough. It's tough.
Okay.
No, you guys each have a pistol.
Okay. Just checking, But I see Felix coming. I recognize Felix.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll wait till they get a little bit closer, and then I'll move in. And Felix, how's it going?
Okay.
Anton Hoffman.
Okay.
Remember Frankfurt?
He waves to you and goes, yes, Frankfurt. Well, I got your message today. There was another party member being a little nosy, but I think that Berlin will probably be as safe as we can make it for you. How was your flight? He kind of laughs as he sees the parachutes.
About as safe as a flight could be.
All right. Well, I'm just glad you're here. I can't really say what's going on after everything that's happened, but this war has to end. And he hands you a bundle of things with some.
I agree with you 100%. Thanks. My associate Richard's hiding around here somewheres. Richard.
I come out from the shadows and be like,
Okay. Felix gives you a bit of a wave.
I just do a little head nod.
Okay. And yeah, he hands you some clothes, cigarettes, other things. They're all kind of bundled up.
Wonderful. I will share with Richard, since, even though he was hiding, I'll be nice this once. Well, lead the way, Felix.
Okay, so I take them back to the printworks in Nicole. I guess it's dark now. No one's really out, so I won't keep a lookout for the guy who was looking around earlier. But I am on edge since that. So
yeah, and that edginess definitely lets you hear the crunch of glass from a heavy boot, and then there's this banging on the door to your establishment once again.
Oh no! Is this when we're already inside, or is it as we approach?
As you're inside, once you guys walk in.
I will take a spot just behind the door, so if it opens up, I have that door right there and be drawn and ready.
Mr. Bauer.
Okay. I turn to Richard and he's like, oh, God damn it. It's that other party guy. He's been looking for cigarettes. I'll handle this. Just lay low. Felix opens the door a crack and he says, it's a little late, don't you think?
Yes, and when you open the door, you notice that there are 6 Nazi soldiers kind of gazing at you from their helmets. They're every now and then illuminated by kind of this fire that erupts to the side. Despite kind of shrapnel being sent elsewhere, their eyes just kind of focus on you without any reaction to it. The head guy, who is someone you definitely saw earlier, asking about the cigarettes.
It's the same guy?
Now kind of... Mr. Bauer.
Say, I see you got your smokes.
Yes. We saw, intelligence suggests that two individuals were seen coming down via parachute in the area, and we suspect that they might be hiding in any of these buildings. Do you know anything about this, Mr. Bauer?
Parachutes. It's hard to see anything with the bombardment, but out in the woods. I think if I was parachuting into Berlin, that's where I would go. If they arrived recently, they're still probably wandering around. It's hard to walk in these conditions, so...
Yeah, it truly is. And so we're going to go to our first roll because this is some stressful times. So much like Powered by the Apocalypse games, you are rolling 2 sets of dice. In this case, it is 2d10. And I will let you know kind of what happens at the end of it. So in this case, I think keep it together is the most important aspect. You were staring at 6 Nazis with ample firepower to tear yourself as well as your 2 compatriots limb from limb. So yeah, you are rolling 2d10 plus your willpower. Good luck, as Ian James says.
Okay. I will roll.
I got a 9.
Oh, this is just for Felix Bauer. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I got a 6. It's a 4 and a 2 plus 1 for my willpower, so that's a 7 for keep it together. I don't know if Felix is going to keep it together.
Oh, man. All right. So we're going to say you take -2 to your stability, so you can just kind of tag 1, 2 on the character sheet you have.
Okay.
And yeah, it doesn't look good. Like you're sweating. You can see yourself slightly shaking a little bit. You know this isn't your best performance, and certainly wouldn't pass a test in any middle school play. But yeah, this person kind of looks at you, taking a few steps forward, and you can kind of smell the alcohol on his breath. He's only like a couple of centimeters from your face. Mr. Bauer, I need not remind you that harboring enemies of the state is punishable by the Fuhrer.
Harboring? I've been a member of the Nazi Party since 1934. What would I do harboring? Look, if you want me to, I'll go right out to the woods with you now. We can look for them together.
Seems like a waste of time. We could instead bring you in, question you for the remainder of the night. Go ahead, Josh.
What kind of door is this? Is this a metal door with a latch? Is this just a wood door?
Yeah, it's wooden, splintered. Go ahead, Margaret. Sorry.
Okay, I was just saying that. Yeah, it's wooden, but part of the door frame is kind of bombed out. Felix tries to keep it closed, but the printworks right now is actually not very secure.
Okay, so it would be a temporary barrier.
At best.
I can see Felix sweating bullets at this point. So what's going through my head is to slam the door on him, push him to the side. Hopefully the door will close, keeping the 6 at bay for the moment. Put a shot into him and then try to escape with the other 2.
Bold move.
I mean, if Richard's on board, I mean, you can hide if you like.
I mean, I've got a pistol. I might as well use it. But yeah, it's There's 6-on-3s.
Yeah, and they have submachine guns. Of
I
course.
don't like those odds.
Oh, Serpentine, come on.
Felix is used to getting by on his charisma, but it's not working for him tonight. So he won't try and stop you.
So kind of looking at this person as he's smoking a cigarette, he kind of pulls out a pack, and you kind of notice that he only has about 2 cigarettes left. And he looks at you and says, but of course, we could occupy our time with something else. Mr. Bauer.
I mean, you really think that questioning me would do anything? What would I know? You see me around here all the time. I'm a company Führer. His hand is shaking a little as he props it against the door frame.
Can I see your hand, Mr. Bauer?
Fine. And he reaches out his hand.
And he takes it and kind of looks it over, placing his other hand upon it. And yeah, your hands are like shaking as he's looking, as he's touching your hand with this this like leather glove. Mr. Bauer, why are you nervous, sweating, jumpy?
Because it's late. It's late, and I've been watching my city get torn apart for years now. I'm a Berliner. You think that seeing this wouldn't make me nervous?
Well, it's all needed for the Great Reich. Come outside, Mr. Bauer.
He swallows a little hard and steps out with him.
Yeah,
That Cecil will do something.
So unless people stop, they are going to beat Felix. They're going to beat him. And you can kind of hear it as it starts to happen. The kind of opening salvo is a cigarette, the hot part right to an exposed part, and then a punch to the gut.
All right.
You hear Felix yelp.
So did they shut the door?
No.
They left it wide open?
He didn't close it behind him.
I'm going to look over at Cecil and be like,
all right.
We'll make the little gunny, the little finger guns,
the gunny sign.
But you do it from a distance. I'm going to wait here, and if they, come through the room, I can get them from behind.
So how many people have submachine guns?
All of them.
6.
All 6 of them have them.
That's
wonderful.
It's fine. Go find a shadow, duck behind it. They're not going to know where it's going to come from. They're going to come in, pow, 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 right in the back of the head. It's bulletproof, literally.
As this is going on, you hear Felix take a knee to the gut and shout out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm going
We got to do some sort of distraction, otherwise Felix is going to die.
Let's
Or go turn on one of the big machines or something.
Maybe we cause a distraction. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'll wait here. You go turn on the machine.
The machine.
Fine.
Are they going to be able to hear that? Like, why would that distract them?
Well, Felix did tell them that the building was empty. So if they hear something inside,
exactly, they're going to be suspicious of anything else going on in here. I mean, who the heck is printing at this time of night?
Yeah, that's true. All right, so I'll turn on the printing press.
As we're yelling this across the room,
well, we're kind of signaling. I mean, for the audio podcast, for the audio version of this.
There we go. Okay,
that's we did that all with like hand motions
Yeah.
and
That's what it is.
signaling.
We're that
Yeah.
trained.
I want
Yeah, that was-
realism from my audio podcast. I want whispers and going against the wall and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak
Go
around,
turn on the
turn on the printing press, and try to
and
duck
then hide
into
behind
cover.
it. Yeah.
Right, and then I'm gonna try to hide
Or-
somewhere so that like maybe when they come in we can sneak out.
Yeah. So one of them, after kind of slamming the butt against of their weapon against Felix, they all look up, and the head guy looks down at Felix and says, "Mr. Bauer, is someone inside your establishment?"
Felix kind of has something. Why don't you go find out? And swears at him. Felix is in a bad way right now.
Me nod
Felix
and
is really hoping Cecil does something.
yeah, like most of them, we'll say 4 of them kind of head out, kind of going past the door and going towards the machine, while the other 2 lift Felix up against the wall, kind of holding him up.
Okay.
How damaged is Felix right now? I started out being destabilized too. I'm guessing I took some more damage.
So yeah, that is all like your mental stuff. So
Okay.
to kind of reflect your physical, why don't you go ahead and endure injury? So it'll be 2d10 plus your fortitude, and we'll say since the harm is just kind of superficial and on the outside, we'll say it's -2.
Okay.
You'll be fine. You got this, Felix.
All right. So I rolled a 14.
Ooh, nice.
So Felix actually took that beating pretty well.
Yeah. So you are still
His
standing.
pride is hurt. Normally he could just get these guys to leave him alone, but not tonight.
Yeah, so a 10 through 14, you are still hurt, but I get to pick one, and I am going to say, is there anyone important to Felix? Family, lover?
Yes. So Felix, he had an old associate, Ulrich Schuler. So any member of the Schuler family would be a sore spot for him. And he also uses printworks to secretly make fake IDs for people trying to get out of the city. So they could probably, if they know about that, that's another sore spot for Felix.
All right. Yeah, so you see one of them as you're kind of, I mean, you're cut and bruised up. One of them gets some gasoline and starts kind of pouring it over your building on the exterior, and then kind of sloshes some within it.
Felix just reaches out. He goes, "No, what are you doing? You burned down my entire shop over some cigarettes. What's wrong with you?"
9, Felix, you stay there and you're gonna watch it tonight. And Richard, you kind of hear the heavy boots of soldiers move by, and they're looking around, but they're not really caring. More so, you see them like take anything of valuable, and then kind of just head on out. And Felix and Cecil, as they head out, you see them kind of, carrying like pens, paper, anything that isn't bolted down that could be of any worth trading, as they head out. And unless anyone stops them, they're going to light a match. And
well, I will. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop the. Probably shoot one of the guys in the head that is walking towards in front of the line there.
All right, we're doing this.
Yes.
Got real.
All right. So, to kind of bring Amanda into this, can I say kerfuffle?
Oh, this has been entertaining just to watch. Even
I'm gonna call it a kerfuffle.
The first day of Felix is like,
I have a plan.
Yeah,
I hope so.
It's fine. It's fine, Richard.
Yeah. So Charlotte and Erna, sorry, Ways, as you guys are kind of you guys have been enjoying like a lovely kind of walk during the day, and all of this is of course as lovely as you can get here in Berlin. I mean, of course, everything is just destroyed. There's starving people everywhere, and it's just. I think as much as Charlotte wanted this to be kind of a breath of fresh air, it's
not great.
yeah, it's definitely not great. Erna kind of looks at you and says, "Do you remember Richter?"
Yes.
You know,
But
sometimes
we shouldn't talk about him.
I guess so.
Just remember, it's not something we want to tell people about. So,
and she looks at kind of her hands. I look back and it makes me think maybe I should have just let it be. And I don't know, so many people have it worse. I don't know what I'm trying to say, Charlotte. I knew we had to.
You shouldn't feel bad. I know that's hard to say, that it's hard to accept, but you shouldn't feel bad for what happened. We did what we had to do.
I mean, did we make it? Were we successful? It's sometimes I dream and I see him and he has his hands around my throat, and I wonder if every moment since then it's just kind of an extension of the last moments of my life. I mean, this can't be the world, right? This can't be it. This has to be some place beyond, maybe.
No, it's just a very dark, damaged part of the world right now, but we won't be here forever.
Yeah, I don't think so. I had a dream the other night. You remember we used to go in the country and play with the geese and the ducks, and you would braid my hair, and we just it was just a day filled with so much laughter.
Those are wonderful memories. You should hang on to them, and we'll have good times like that again too. We'll get out of here. We will get out of here yet.
That's the thing. When I had this dream that I fell and I was in the water, and I saw you standing at the precipice of whatever I was sinking into, and I cried out, but you never responded. You couldn't respond.
It's just a dream. There's a lot of things to worry about, and your mind is turning them into bad dreams. But you shouldn't dwell on them.
Maybe it's just when in dreaming, the reality seems as worse as upon waking. My sore eyes, they strain to see what I have to see every day.
Well, maybe you seem like you're still a little bit tired. Maybe we should head back to the house now.
Yeah, maybe. We when we used to run, you always ran faster. You were just a stronger runner, and I think about that sometimes. I wish sometimes that I could run as fast and strong as you.
Oh, you have plenty of your own strength, Erna.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys continue walking, and it's kind of, a complete, like, unexpected thing to kind of, as you're walking back, to have the sky light up in flame and fire. And yeah, just everything erupts in this kind of quiet moment shared between two sisters is ruined by the death that kind of leaks out everywhere, and the screams of the poor and the dying on every side. And it's about, as you guys are kind of going from house to house, as you see a gentleman being kicked around, punched and beaten, and then finally thrown against the wall, as you see one person kind of splash gasoline over the wall, and then kind of put some on the individual as well.
Oh my. Can I tell who these people are? I recognize.
Yeah, you do recognize Felix as someone who's kind of been in the area for some time. I mean, you guys have been in hiding, so you haven't really seen much, but you definitely remember Felix.
Do I recognize the people who are assaulting him?
Yeah, it's always strange to see some of these people. Some of them you kind of remember who they were back when they were kind of school children, and kind of seeing them in this innocent way, and then kind of them growing up and changing over the last couple of years into whatever it is you're staring at now. It's kind of a catastrophe to see the change.
Right.
But you look around, and Erna is not with you anymore.
She would. All right. First, I'm gonna run up to Felix and these men who are attacking him. Just like, what is going on here? What are you doing?
And of course, Cecil and I guess maybe Richard, depending on how you've kind of come back or not, hear this woman on the other side. And Felix, you're kind of dripping with this gasoline now. And several of the soldiers, they have all come out at this point in time as they're looking at everyone. And the head one, who's kind of threatening everyone with this lighted cigarette, as if he could kind of flick it in the house's direction or even Felix's direction at any point, and starts whatever it's about to happen. And he looks at you, Charlotte, and says, just doing our duty. Miss, why are you here?
I was just out for a walk, and then the shelling started.
Papers?
Do I have anything?
You probably have something, definitely during your time out. It might not be like authentic in any way.
Right.
And maybe even Felix kind of helped you create some of these papers.
Right. I'll give him what I have. Be like, yes, of course.
And he smokes as he uses the cigarette light to kind of look at this passport.
That's unnerving. Please don't light my papers on fire.
Cecil and Felix, what are you two doing? And Richard too. Like,
all right, Felix is. So he's looking at the soldier, looking at Charlotte's papers, and he actually kind of wants to go back into his print shop because he has the decoder there. He has a bunch of forged documents. He has other things as well, and them going through that could be really bad for him. But he's also covered with gasoline, so he can't. He tastily kind of, once he realizes that some of the gas got out on him, he takes off his printer's apron, takes off his coat. He's trying to become less combustible.
Yeah, put everything on the ground.
Yeah. So right now there are all 4 of the soldiers went in and are carrying stuff out, and then one of the soldiers is interrogating Charlotte's.
And the other one's just kind of off to the side, holding
Off to the
his
side.
machine gun in his hand.
Okay. Oh man, does he go for it? Hasn't worked out really well for him in this scene.
So 4 of them are carrying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of them has a machine gun. One of them's just looking at some papers. So, okay. So I'm gonna look at Cecil, and I'm going to do the little hand gesture, like, "Hey, take out the guy with the gun, and I'll take out the guy with. I'll do a headshot, and then hopefully we can just ping these other guys while their arms are. Unless you've got something else going. Unless you've got." Some sort of.
You're muted, Josh.
Oh no.
No,
you're
I'm
like
not.
really acting here. You're like,
Yeah.
I was
He doesn't
getting
want
into
the
the
soldiers
role.
to hear him.
Exactly. I'm like, I'll mute myself just to be safe. No, I was saying, are there like shelving racks of paper near me?
yes, always.
Excellent. So what I'd like to do, and this is very spy 007-y, take the shot, barrel roll behind the racks of paper, because, stacks of paper are actually pretty tough. So kind of cause a distraction so Richard could get a shot off from behind. And then if all that works out, we'll figure out the other 2 guys.
Excellent. So best laid plans of, was it Mice and Men or something?
Mice and Men, yes.
I really want to take out the guy that was beating on Felix, though, like the head guy. Like that's the guy that I really like. That guy just burns me right now.
He's interrogating Charlotte.
We'll
right
get
now.
there, but we got to get rid of these 4 first. Then we could take out the 3, no problem.
All right. So roll
Okay.
for violence, 2d10.
Roll for violence. I like that.
Roll for violence.
Roll for violence. Do we both, or just
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 starting
Cecil.
with Cecil.
Okay.
Since he's
All right.
kinda
Am I
opening it up.
Am I adding anything to violence?
Nope, just a 2d10.
Okay. That's a 15.
Ooh, nice. So that is what you need for me not to make your
Cecil
life more
brings the
difficult.
violence.
As much as I would like to. Oh, man. So yeah, who are you taking out? Describe the scene as it works out perfectly. You have narrative control. I'm just sitting back.
Okay. All right. So as the 4 are walking forward, they're walking in a line. They're chit-chatting about all the stuff they have in their hands. And I kind of push the door aside so that, revealing myself, take the shot, barrel roll behind the rack, as I'm assuming they're going to drop their stuff and go and reach for their guns.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy goes down. He just...
Yeah, you. I describe it in more detail, but yeah, he goes down in true PG-13 fashion.
Yes. I would go worse, but this is Doug's show.
Yeah.
the big bang?
Yeah.
The Batman bang.
Yeah, or like
appears on
Avengers, right? Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
Fade to black.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. And yeah, this whole place erupts in chaos, like beneath the bombardment of screams and shouts and the crying of people in pain. Gunfire erupts in the dark, and people are just running around everywhere to try to figure out what just happened and why it happened. As everyone's looking around, Richard, what are you doing?
So there's more. There's 3 more in our room that are alive.
Mhm.
You only took out. Yeah, I'm gonna try to shoot the closest one in the head.
All right,
I'm gonna aim for his head and
roll violence.
Violence, which is a 17.
Oh my gosh! You know, the first time I played Kult on stream, I told everyone it was 2d6. And I think let's transfer it down. Like I think
Harsh.
It's nightmare mode on Kult.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Enjoy it. So, Doug, please switch your dice to d6s. We'll talk later. But yeah, describe what happens.
Yeah,
'cause
I just take it from the shadows. You just see my hand and my pistol rise up, and I just aim for the side of that guy's head, and just you see it fire, and then you don't even see it go into it. You just see a splatter against the wall, and yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, Charlotte and Felix, what are you guys doing? Because these two, they're raising their weapons. They're obviously responding to a threat. They're not. Their attention isn't focused on you two because it sounds like the threat is coming from within. But yeah.
I'm gonna actually try to grab onto Felix and like scurry him off into an alleyway somewhere out of the way.
All right, Felix, do you allow this to happen?
Felix actually, he tries to push you off, and he looks like he's actually going to try to take advantage of all this chaos and run back into the burning print shop. What are you doing? And he says, "No, look, there's something in there. I need to get it out. It's very important. Please, you go hide. I have to get back in there."
Well, it's a burning building. There's nothing can be that important that's worth your life.
How on fire is the building full of paper?
Paper and
Very
gasoline.
on fire now.
Yeah. How on fire?
Not that bad.
Yeah, like if this was D&D, I would call it bloodied. Half hit points for the house.
Right. Well, he is +3 coolness, but he is low fortitude and low reason. So
All right, so
You gotta
act
actually
under
try to
pressure. Felix, act under pressure. Roll your coolness.
all right.
Uh-oh.
And my coolness is +3, so I rolled a 12 +3. That's 15.
Woo! Perfect.
Holding it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, you're able to go in to describe, like, you have the scene. What happened?
Okay. All right. Felix pushes Charlotte off, and it kind of looks like Charlotte probably thinks that he's delusional or suicidal. Because, again, building on fire, full of paper, and he's still mildly covered in gasoline. But he runs in past, shelves of supplies that he's squirreled away are just falling over. His life's work is up in flames, but he goes to the desk and is able to open it up where he hid the radio transmitter that he got the message from M16 from. And he tucks it into his clothes and then dashes out as the rest of Felix Bauer's pretty much his whole life for the last few years kind of caves in around him.
Yeah, you can kind of see, kind of on the desk, there's a portrait, like a small little picture of you and your family. This has been kind of, delegated to family for generations before, and you kind of see yourself as a little kid surrounded by your family, and obviously times have been tough, and not all of them survived, but. Do you grab the photo?
He is going to try to grab the photo, but he grabbed the radio transmitter first.
Yeah, you grab the photo. It burns, and you see part of your dad's, like, the top left part of the picture is kind of crinkled up from the heat and such, burning away part of his face, and it's really just you alone in the portrait, but at least it's something. And definitely on the back, you remember that it says, "I love you." Kind of reminiscing about times that weren't as gasoline or fire filled.
Yeah.
So Charlotte, you are out here, and one of the individuals kind of pushes you back and aims his gun at you. Screaming obscenities and curses towards your direction, lashing out in this very difficult and stressful situation. What are you doing?
I'm actually going to try to make a break for the alleyway. I want to just try to run away from this. because
Excellent.
this is terrifying.
All right, so you were going to avoid harm as you kind of see parts of the dirt fly up into the air, the normal whizzing of bullets hitting the ground next to you. So that is 2d10 plus your reflexes.
Plus my reflexes, which I need to find. There it is. Okay. So that is going to be not a great roll. That's a total of 10.
Yeah, that's not like awesome.
Mitchell's face when you said 10 was like,
Yeah, it's not a great roll.
All right, so
What if my dice came up a 2? That's not good.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. Go to D6. That'll help. So yeah, you and it's almost like time pauses and slows down as you see peeking out from a corner, Erna kind of yelling at you, and you can't quite hear her as she runs towards you. You see several trails of the dirt start to kick up, going past you. And then she drops.
No!
And it's silent.
No! Oh no. That's not good. I'm gonna run over to her.
Yeah, you kind of look down and she's collapsed on the ground. You know that the outfit she wears now, it's something your mom made several years before all this happened. This kind of this dress that she loved because when you spun around, it kind of just twirled out, and she said it always made her feel like a flower kind of blossoming in the sun, or at least she used to when she was in better spirits. But right now, kind of caked in mud and a slight red spot kind of growing around her stomach. She looks more like a wilted bud in the rain than the blossoming flower you recall.
I rolled a 10 and killed my sister. God.
Welcome to Kult.
This is brutal.
This is the worst. Well, I am a nurse. I'm going to try to see if there's anything I can do and put pressure on the wound and see if I can get it to stop bleeding and how bad of shape she's in.
Excellent.
I'm like 3/4 of a nurse. I didn't technically graduate, but don't tell anybody that.
Yeah, it's fine. That's something you definitely don't say. Like
no. People don't need to know about that.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and act under pressure as you kind of see this almost leaking like from a pen oozing out from her and onto the ground and covering your hands.
Oh no. Okay. Oh, I'm bad at that. Oh no. All right. Well, that was at least a slightly better roll. No, it's not because I have a negative. Crap. All right. So that's an 11. That's not any better at all.
All right. So you can do it. You apply pressure. Like your hands are caked in this ooze. So why don't you give me a keep it together roll? So that is 2d10 plus your willpower as you're. I mean, this is all you have left.
I know.
The war has taken everything.
That's also an 11. I'm writing the very sad average right now.
Yeah, maybe switch to D4s. Keep it. So
Can
yeah, so
D12s.
Oh no, that doesn't exist in Kult. What is this? We only go down. So you get to choose what you're kind of feeling right now, but you can be angry, sad, scared, guilt-ridden. There's a couple others, but I think those kind of.
Yeah, I'm angry and guilt-ridden. I feel guilty that I wasn't able to protect her, and I brought her out into this, and also just so angry that yet another thing in my life has been destroyed by this stupid war and these horrible people, and just this whole terrible situation, and the world is not fair, and it's destroyed everything. It already hurt my sister and I so badly, and now I'm losing her too. This is terrible.
Yeah. And like there's that itching in the back of your head that's like, she wouldn't be out here if it wasn't for you.
It wasn't because of me. This is all my fault.
So yeah, you take -1 stability as you're pressing down on the wound, and you feel a kind of a metal cold feeling in the back of your head. Kind of in your periphery, you notice that one of the Nazis have come up behind you with this gun, and it's just kind of pointing it at you.
Nazi bastards. All right. I'm also just so upset and angry at this point. I'm still just like holding pressure on her wound, and I just kind of like turn and glare at him and say, "What else do you want?"
He looks down at you, at the two of you. You shouldn't have run. And you can kind of see his hand move to the side of the gun as he kind of cocks it back.
No.
The end of the barrel aimed at your sister. What are you gonna do?
Where is Felix? Because he came out of the building, but I think he's too far.
Oh, I'm just gonna run up and leap at him.
There we go. Yeah.
Angry at this bastard.
Roll that violence. And for Cecil and Richard, I guess you guys still have a couple of people to deal with. So why don't you guys give me a violence roll? And Felix, by the time you kind of see Charlotte lurching at this person is when you come outside this your bloodied establishment.
Yes.
That's a little better roll this time. I got a 14.
Ooh, snap.
I've now been spurred to violence.
All right. Let's see what you got. All right. So you inflict damage, but at a cost.
Oh boy. Haven't I already paid enough?
No, apparently not. All right. I have something in mind, but we'll deal with it later.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So Felix, you see Charlotte. Like, how do you do it, Charlotte? What do you do as you grab onto this guy?
So basically, since I'm already down on the ground, so I'm at a much lower vantage point, so I basically just kind of leap up and try to take him out at the knees, like knock him off balance, and hope that when he goes flying, he'll either lose control of his gun or at least be out of it enough that I can kick it away or wrestle it away. Basically, just trying to knock him on his back and get him disoriented.
I like it, yeah. And so, Felix, you see the soldier fall back, and it looks like he hits something, maybe a rock or something, as he kind of starts twitching on the ground underneath Charlotte. His eyes kind of looking past and not really able to summon the strength to push Charlotte off. But let's go on over and see how Richard and Cecil are doing.
Absolutely. Roll the 14.
You guys both got 14s. What is this?
We did.
Nice.
You guys are having like a completely
Mime a high
different
five
game.
across.
They really are like the British secret agents. We're just like, oh.
All right, so you guys are successful, but I'm going to say you guys are vulnerable to a counterattack. So why don't you guys both give me avoid harms?
Avoid harm. Just a straight roll there.
Yeah, it's roll plus your reflexes.
Reflexes.
I got a 12.
Not great.
Not great.
Yeah, that's all right. Don't feel bad, buddy. I got a 10.
All right.
Hey, you gotta take some damage. You
I mean,
can't be perfect.
Exactly. So why don't you guys both avoid injury? So it's roll 20, 2d10 plus not 20. Dear Lord, no.
Wait a minute, I got 2d20s right here.
Nope.
Okay.
2d10s minus 3 for the harm.
Okay.
It's 10 for me.
15.
Ooh, nice.
Because I rolled an 18, so minus 3, 15.
All right, so I mean, you guys both get shot. It's painful, but Cecil, you're able to grit your teeth and kind of push it out of the way for the time being. What do you do to kind of combat this guy?
So I get shot as I shoot him. Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
At the same time? I would like to go over and kick him in the face, or at least stomp on his head or something, just in retaliation against son of a gun shot me.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so Richard, you see Cecil kind of moving forward. He gets clipped in the shoulder and then just drop kicks this guy through the window as he just like falls on the other side. Unfortunately for Richard, this kind of takes a little bit of your time. You're not as quick. So what happens as you get shot and it hurts as you take a serious wound?
Oh. All right. Yeah, I just kind of like kind of fall, and I don't quite have the herewithal to kind of retaliate, but I just take that wound and I go to my knees and I like grab. Where does it hit me?
We'll say right in kind of I'm gonna call it the tummy area because
the tummy area.
Yeah,
yeah. I grab
That's
my
the PG-13 term.
I grab my tum tum. I fall to the ground.
Yeah, that's why I never was a doctor. Among other reasons. But Richard, you're still able to take this guy out despite kind of the wound. So
awesome. Yeah, so I shoot him, but he shoots me and hits me in my tum tum, and I kind of fall to the ground. Now with a serious wound, I have a -1 going forward. Is that how I understand the rules?
Yeah, and that's going to be with you for quite some time.
Well, yeah, I hit my tum tum.
Yeah, like
I'm sure Richard will cry out because he's not used to being shot at.
Ooh, Richard, do you cry out?
I mean,
do you grunt? Do you
squeal?
Squeal?
I don't cry out, but I definitely like I just kind of like grunt and don't.
Is it audible enough for me to hear?
Not really. It's kind of in between all the explosions and a lot of crazy stuff is happening right now.
All right, so it's a low guttural growl rather than a scream. Okay, I will holler Richard's name and then move out into the hallway.
Excellent. All right, so we're gonna hop over to Felix and Charlotte. This person underneath Charlotte is kind of he's shaking, and it definitely looks like he has some sort of concussion or something. He's not gonna make it in any fashion. And it looks like he's kind of trying to pull his sidearm to prevent suffering for himself for an extended period of time. But Felix and Charlotte, what are you doing?
All right, so Felix just leapt out of the burning building, and he's going to run towards Charlotte.
Excellent. Charlotte, well, you see him kind of reaching for his sidearm, trying to end his own suffering. It's obvious he's not going to make it. You kind of, the mud underneath you is not wet because of rain, but
this is the guy that I bowled over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to take the sidearm before he can.
He looks at you and kind of like almost with this pleading look in his eyes, like, And he whispers, please end it. It hurts so bad.
I'm just gonna walk away. I'm gonna go back and check on my sister now.
All right. Felix, what do you do?
I run over to Charlotte and her sister, and I kneel down beside her and I say, Charlotte, we have to get out of here. More are probably going to be coming.
How is Erna doing at this point?
You notice she's pale. What was once kind of a brown stained white dress is kind of tainted with this red splash of color. And you guys definitely hear like several trucks in the distance, which you guys know will be filled with more of these guys, at least a dozen.
I'm gonna ask Felix, do you know somewhere safe nearby? We need to get her somewhere safe. We're too far from where we've been staying. I won't be able to get her there in time. I need to get her out of this street and somewhere safe immediately. She's been seriously hurt.
Does Felix actually? I guess
Not counting your burning shop.
Yeah,
I'm not counting that.
which is
That-
like
on
collapsing
fire.
at this point. So Felix was he's actually a pretty high-ranking person in the Volkstorm, which is the militia. So he probably would know an area. Is that something you have to roll for?
No,
Or
I definitely
would you
think
know?
with your background, you would know a couple of kind of bomb shelters and definitely hidden ones that people don't often use, especially since the population of this village has dwindled.
Okay, so yeah, he turns to Charlotte and he says, "Yes, I know a place here. I'll help you carry her." And he tries to get Charlotte and Irma to relative safety.
All right, excellent. Yeah, and Erna kind of groans as you pick her up, and yeah, it's tough as she kind of drags her feet. But Richard and Cecil and really Felix, are you saying anything, or are you just gonna like let them stay in the shop and British, right? Who cares?
They're still in the shop right now? The shop that is on fire?
Yeah.
I'm in the hallway.
Mhm.
I moved
Oh,
into the alleyway there.
Yeah, okay, so if you're in the alleyway, Felix calls out to Cecil and he says, "Cecil, come with me."
Okay, I follow.
Okay,
All
and
right.
Richard's
is hard
right
to
behind us.
find. I hope he's around. As Cecil takes them to, I guess, like a fortified building nearby. That
Yeah.
you would know about.
Richard sees Cecil take off, and he proceeds to go that way as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit tougher for Richard as you kind of like have to grab your tum and get up and start limping forward.
Tum-tum!
Taco night.
Oh no.
But yeah, despite kind of this horrific night, you guys find yourself down in a cellar. The bombardments have stopped, and it's kind of a quiet, silent night. You know, it's about 4 a.m., and you can almost hear the birds are kind of chirping, starting their wake-up calls for the new dawn. There aren't really beds in this place, more so like a bunch of hay and stuff have been set on the ground for people to sleep on. But it's just you guys for the time being. Felix, you knew the farmer who used to reside here. Him and his family were killed among the first bombardments a couple of days ago. But, it's empty for the time being. Erna seems to be feverish, sweat dripping from her head, mumbling to herself throughout the night.
Right. I'm gonna try to dress her wounds as best as possible with whatever I have on hand here.
Perfect. Yeah, you can grab really they have old shirts and stuff like that you can kind of apply pressure to. But yeah, it's from what you know, it's probably infection is the greatest danger right now. But supplies are low, but hopefully you can find something to combat it. But yeah. So you guys are all together now, kind of lit up by a gas lamp in this shelter.
I will ignore my injuries for the moment and check on Richard since his is more severe. Mine's more like a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Yeah, tend to his as much as possible. If the bullet's still in there, try to remove it and patch him up.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough night as luckily for Charlotte and Erna, the bullet went right through, but for Richard, it's still in there. So it's a couple of hours of yeah, just that you kind of have to use a spoon or
Yeah, makeshift surgical instruments, and we'll definitely cauterize it,
Mhm.
with something. Don't worry, Richard, we got you covered.
Thanks.
No problem.
My
And then
tum-tum.
after he's patched up and actually resting, then I'll, patch my little wound up, my little scratch. And whoever else wants to get some sleep, but I can keep a watch if anyone else wants to rest at this time.
Felix actually speaks up and goes, I think actually out of all of us, I might be the least hurt physically. I can
Okay.
take the first watch if you'd like.
Sure.
Plus, if any more soldiers come around, there's a chance that I'll actually know them. Although a lot of good that did me.
I'm not going to argue with you. And I'll pick a comfy spot as comfy as I can get. And
I'm sorry. Who are you two?
my name is Anton, old friend of Felix's.
I see. It's strange. I don't think I've ever seen you around here. It's a pretty small neighborhood, and none of us have really gotten to go much of anywhere lately.
Yeah, just flew in. Just came in from Frankfurt.
Really?
Yes.
Felix pipes up and says, well, Charlotte, many people use assumed names nowadays.
Yes. That's true.
But I think we should all get some rest. We can discuss this when we're feeling better.
All right.
All right. So yeah, despite the difficult night, dawn still approaches in all its splendor and glory. You can tell that Erna's breathing has become a little bit more raspy, as if she's struggling against her own body and herself. What are you guys doing?
So, I guess in the morning, does Erna looks like she's doing worse or better?
It's kind of like, I mean, obviously the bullet wound isn't, or the bullet isn't the issue anymore. It's definitely like probably infection and the things that happen after you get a bullet wound, especially in this kind of unhygienic place, damp, moist, without the proper medicine.
Do you know of anywhere we could find medicine? I suppose I could try to get to the hospital, but I'd be concerned to try to take her if there's any more of those men around.
Felix says, yeah, the hospital right now would be much too dangerous. But you and Erno, you were staying at the Richter house, right? I think I remember seeing you there.
We were not anymore. We were staying with we're staying with the Eisenberg now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. We were staying at the Eisenberg house now.
Well, we can try to bring her somewhere. The city's kind of depopulated now, but I think I'll probably know a place.
I'll speak up and say, what about here, and show her the address. Or him.
Okay. Does he recognize the address?
Yeah, that's the place that Charlotte is describing.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, the Eisenberg house. Let's go.
Yeah, and for Cecil and Richard, the Eisenberg was the last contact for Lofton, the MIA agent.
So
Okay.
we kind of perk up when she says,
Yeah.
Like,
okay, like
Well, I'm
remember
definitely
a
on
couple
edge.
hours ago when everything was fine?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not anymore, is it?
no, it's
We're very far from fine.
Yeah.
Of course.
Felix, I guess, because he does move around the city a lot, he would probably know exactly where that is. So he'll
yeah, and Charlotte definitely knows.
Right.
All right, so you guys begin your walk over there. Kind of on the way over, Felix, you see the remnants of your establishment, a burnt out carcass of what it once was, with these black skeletal like machines rising up from the ashes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
Wonderful.
womp
it's all gone. Womp womp is the right reaction.
is any part of the basement exposed from the building burning down and all the
It
bombing?
doesn't look like it. It looks like pretty much everything is kind of collapsed in on itself. Maybe if you had like an hour or two, you could start kind of moving everything aside. And Charlotte,
he doesn't, so he just keeps going.
yeah, and Charlotte, you definitely recognize the man you left out here in the night, just laying on the ground.
Has he expired yet?
He has expired.
Okay. Good. Jerk.
All right. So you guys start heading to the Eisenbergs, and it takes about most of the morning and a little bit into the afternoon. It's a pretty long walk, especially since you're kind of
Since
going
half our party is wounded too. So
wounded,
go
like
around.
buildings are collapsed onto the streets. You also kind of want to avoid the Nazi patrols. They move about. Especially with this wounded person. But yeah, the Eisenberg home is in the outskirts of Berlin, and it's this luxurious district filled with beautiful estates and gardens, or at least once was. For the most part, this district is hasn't been touched, but there's still kind of the scars of war just from people not being able to stay in the area and tend to the gardens as well as to the houses. So many of the windows are boarded up. It just looks disrepair with weeds kind of spiraling up from the earth. But yeah, the Eisenberg house stands before you. The lawn has been dug up in some places. You guys have been growing potatoes for food.
It's slightly caved in over on the east wing. We just don't go over there.
There's a door.
This side is fine.
Okay.
Does Isabella reside here?
she does.
Yes, she does.
Oh, she does. Fantastic. Well, lead the way, Miss Charlotte.
All right, so I lead them in. It's like a little like back door off the kitchen is the primary entrance at this point, and we all kind of go in that way. And pretty much as soon as we get in, I don't even really care what they're doing. I'm going through my personal stores of, the medicine, trying to pull out like iodine or whatever else I can find so that I can help give Erna some more treatment, and I guess Richard too if I gotta.
That's give him
Just
like,
Richard.
Yeah,
It's
fine.
just a tum-tum. It's just a tum-tum injury.
Flintstone vitamin, he'll be fine.
We cauterized it. He's good to go.
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine.
He's only bleeding internally. He'll last for the rest of this session, and that's it.
But Charlotte,
Maybe.
as you go in, since you're very familiar with the house, you notice a couple of things. There are some things that you remember being on the table that are now discarded on the floor. And as you move to the medicine cabinet where you've been hiding all of your supplies, you notice all that's left is really some gauze.
Who has been in here? Someone has been here. Someone was here last night.
What if they're still here I'll make as much of a sweep as I can.
Excellent.
Checking-
Go ahead and give me a it's observe. Where you at? Move. Oh, investigate. Sorry. So roll plus your reason.
Plus my reason. Do I have reason? Yes, I do.
Yeah, my reason is low, but can
Ooh.
Felix help out with this?
Yeah, if you want, you can make the helping action. So you'd roll the same thing, and based on your roll, would give Cecil a bonus.
18 plus 3. Yeah, that's what I said.
You are a master detective.
Sherlock Holmes over here recreating the scene.
Piecing it together.
You don't need it at all, but 12 plus 0, so...
Yeah, 12 plus. Yeah, so you get to
Just
add.
I just pushed
1.
Felix out of the way. I got this. Just move aside.
Move, Watson.
good.
I got this.
Yeah.
All right. So you get to ask. I'll say with that, you get to ask 3 questions about what has happened here. Whatever you want, and this is just what you are seeing in this area.
Okay. So in this area, we see stuff kind of knocked about on the floor.
Mhm.
Have the cupboards been like opened and it looks like it's been searched through and all that stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Looking around, you notice definitely looks like someone has ransacked the place.
Okay.
Taking most of the valuables within it.
All right. Are there any signs of foot traffic or blood spots on the ground?
Yes, you see kind of the heavy boots of a soldier, the caked with mud kind of footprints leading in and then kind of out as well.
Is it just one set?
Yeah, it looks like just one.
Okay. And then I guess, let's see. How far do they just come into the room and then back out, or they go anywhere else within the confines of the house?
They go everywhere else.
So they
you
go
don't really,
all over the place.
Yeah, you don't really see the mud tracks further along other than a couple of steps, but you do see kind of notice items that have been misplaced and definitely things that probably weren't where they were. You can kind of look at the speckled dust against the piano and notice the cup has been moved 2.5 inches to the left.
Okay. All right. So gosh, I'm trying to actually think of what to do here. Any?
Well, that's all your questions. You're
Yeah,
done.
that's all 3. Yeah. Sorry.
I will not help you anymore.
Oh, darn it.
No.
Fish lips. So I will turn to Charlotte and say, when's the last time you saw Isabel?
Probably yesterday, kind of before you left.
I saw her yesterday before we had headed out. She had turned in a little earlier.
Okay. Was there anything of value in the house that you knew of?
I mean, other than supplies, toilet paper, which is always useful, especially during this time.
Yes.
We had basic supplies. I suppose anyone could have come in and wanted to steal our food and medicine. Clearly, someone has taken some of my medicine. Anything of value before a survival situation was sold off or destroyed long ago.
What room did Isabella sleep in?
Oh, it's right over this way. I can show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Bedroom.
I'll kind of. Would you mind describing her bedroom or her room?
It's at one of the actual nicer bedrooms. It's escaped a lot of the damage so far, being on the farthest end of the house from what's falling in.
Mhm.
It's still pretty simple because, like I said, most of the finery had gotten kind of sold off earlier as we were just kind of trying to survive and hunker down here. But it's nice and clean and has a nice bed and little dressing table and nice bed linens. So.
Does this room look like it as well has been disheveled?
Yeah, so kind of looking down at the ground, you notice that near the bed, underneath it, there are several, looks like nail marks against the wood, and you actually see a bit of fingernails sticking out from it.
Yeah, I will. I'll approach and lift up the dust ruffle and look under.
Yeah, it definitely looks like someone was pulled out from under the bed. There's kind of like the claw marks and what looks like a couple of pulled hair and stuff like that.
Oh no.
I will go to Richard with one of the fingernails and say I found this under Isabella's bed. It looks like she was possibly hiding from someone and they obviously got to her and dragged her out of here clawing, and hold up the fingernail to Richard, like uncomfortably close to his face.
All right. I'll look past the fingernail that's really my face and look over at Felix and ask Felix, do you know where they would have taken her?
There's a bit far from here, but honestly, it would kind of depend on what they wanted with her. Did you, Charlotte, when you were here, did you know what she was doing here or why she was hiding?
So Charlotte, you would know that Isabel kind of have been working with a gentleman. You kind of thought that they might be into some business with the Allies. And if that's the case, the best place for traders is the Gestapo, this fortress where they take a lot of the traders of state, not too far from here.
Right. So I'm still not sure if I can trust these people.
Yeah, and you kind of like Erna's back in her couch position, kind of.
She's back in couch.
Yeah, like oh god, sweating. Like the couch is kind of damp from her sweat.
Yeah, I don't know if I can trust these people. I don't know if they've told me anything that would lead me to trust them. Because the safe thing for me to say would just be that I have no idea why anyone would want to take her.
The safe thing to do would be to kill all three.
Oh, yes. That would be extra safe. But a little bit of a logistical challenge, because then I have 3 bodies to deal with.
Yeah. Potato fuel.
Sure. So I'm going to just look at Felix and say, I don't know why someone or who someone would be that would take her. Do you know who could possibly want to take her away?
If it was those photos from before, she's probably at the Gestapo by now. I could try getting in. Maybe I could bring Cecil, Antoine and Richard with me.
Whoever you are.
Yeah. Even after what happened last night, I'm still technically part of the Volkstorm. I'm a company Führer, and they should let me in. But I'm just wondering what exactly she was doing here. And we can try to find her, though. Charlotte, would you want to stay here with your sister? She still seems to be in a pretty bad way.
I will check on her and see if I can get her to a point where she can be left alone. And if I can get her to at least be well enough to just sleep for a while, then I'll come with you.
Yeah. And Felix, you do know a Humpton Rudy Martez, who is a ranking officer within the secret police.
Okay.
That's definitely someone you can kind of contact to get a little bit more information. But Charlotte, you move over to Erna. The couch is damp. She's definitely feverish, but at least this place is cleaner and has less moisture than the other place. She kind of smiles weakly at you. The smile is kind of not as bright as it once was because her teeth are kind of caked with blood. And she reaches out her hand and I'll be fine. Just I'll be fine. Just get her back.
Okay. Okay. I'll make sure she's nice and tucked in and has food and drink nearby so she doesn't have to move.
Yeah. So as you guys kind of start to head out, Charlotte, you can see Erna kind of give a weak wave with her hand. Kind of falls back to the couch, and she closes her eyes. So, where are you guys off to?
All right, so I'm gonna say that Felix also tells everyone that he has a contact in the secret police. He does not feel that him being part of the Volkstorm or part of the Nazi Party is really helping him out at all after what happened. But he suggests that we try to go to the Gestapo, and I'll just, pretend that that we captured Cecil last night after the fire at the printworks. Those other soldiers, they messed it all up, set things on fire, but couldn't even capture the men they were going after. And so I'm going to be bringing him to my contact, Rudy Martez. And hopefully that'll get us inside. And then maybe once we're inside, we'll either find something that we can use to help Erna, or we can find out what they wanted with Heisenberg.
I love it. So you're kind of like shackling up Cecil, tying him up and stuff like that.
Sure.
Josh, do you have handcuffs?
I always have a pair of handcuffs.
All right, great. Go get those. Put those on.
Yeah.
You got it. I don't think you want to see these handcuffs that I have.
they like fuzzy.
Yes.
I see.
PG-13. PG-13.
Yeah. Doug, you're muted.
Doug, we can't hear you.
Some things I don't need to know about Josh.
Well, you already know that I wear a frilly dress that I can spin around with, and apparently you do too.
Hey, sometimes you just want to feel like
It's
a
very
blossoming
free.
flower.
You want to feel pretty,
Yeah, it's very freeing. Dresses are amazing.
A big man, a beard, and a tutu. Hey.
All right. So
sounds like a good time to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Shackle me up. I will play prisoner.
Okay.
Excellent. And Richard and Charlotte, you're going along as kind of Felix's what?
Posse?
Yeah.
Sure.
We helped Felix apprehend this guy, and he's kind of big and scary, so we're trying to help him get him in.
Yeah, I mean that's what the Volkstorm is. They were civilians that we turned into a militia after the city was bombed. So it works.
Right.
Hopefully we can convince them.
Excellent. So you're able to kind of head over to Martez's office, which is kind of in the city, not too far from where you guys are, because they kind of took one of the nicer estates and are now using it as a kind of a sort of office. This is kind of intense, especially for, everyone, probably except for Felix, as you guys are surrounded by soldiers. This is
these guys.
Yeah. Felix definitely looks a little worse for wear, but he does know several of these soldiers, or if he doesn't know their name, he at least recognizes them, and they probably recognize him.
Yeah, and definitely Felix, like you got bruises and like a split lip
Yeah,
and like
cigarette burn.
yeah, it's oh man.
He's still pretty beat up.
Yeah. But you're able to bring this gentleman over to Martez's office. It's just kind of this lovely dining room area, and currently he is chowing down on this raw piece of meat. Obviously, still enjoying some bit of luxury while the rest of the city starves. Kind of the dripping blood of the steak falling onto the plate as he mixes it up with his mashed potatoes. Looking up, Bauer.
So, Martez, sure you saw some of that commotion last night.
Slept like a baby.
Well, a plane flew by, and this guy right here, British, I think, parachuted in.
You got yourself a little pheasant, a British pheasant?
Yes, and these two brave citizens helped me apprehend him.
Mm-hmm.
Really? How did they help you exactly, Felix Bauer?
Well, this young Fraulein Charlotte leapt at him when he was coming after us, and this gentleman over here grabbed him from behind. My print shop, I guess if you were, like you said, slept like a baby last night, you wouldn't know, but the print shop is gone, up in flames.
I'm
I
sorry
think
to
that
hear
some
that.
of your
Felix.
soldiers were a little overzealous looking for this guy, but they couldn't even find him. It was up to me and them.
It took you three.
Yes.
Excellent. Please sit. Join me. And he kind of whistles in. Several armed guards come in, and one of them takes Cecil and pulls him off to the side in against the wall as he motions for the rest of you to sit down at his table.
Okay,
Yeah,
I guess we sit
I'll
down.
definitely play the part and definitely fight back a bit. Not going so quietly.
Yeah, and they kind of like jam you in the tum tum.
Not the tum again.
Yeah,
Man, these tum tum injuries.
yeah. We got to keep it. We got to keep it real for the kids.
Exactly.
For the younger audience. But yeah, he motions for you guys to sit down. Do you guys?
All right, I sit down.
Yes. Yeah, we'll keep up this whole charade for a little bit anyway.
Yeah, I'll reluctantly sit down.
Can we have 3 plates, please? And kind of out from the kitchen, someone brings out this kind of rare, very much like what he's eating, which might be kind of like this bloody pheasant, definitely some veal, as he places it in front of you. It's kind of oozing around next to the potatoes. Well, you've definitely earned yourself at least lunch. Please dig in.
Oh man, Felix, I guess, is gonna eat the food to keep up the part, but he's kind of afraid that something terrible will happen to him if he eats it.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
So-
Everything's fine.
Everything is fine.
Famous last words.
Yeah. All right, Felix takes a bite.
Yeah, it's a little like it's salty. Definitely kind of they over salted it a little bit, so it kind of has that almost moisture sucking taste to it. But just past it, you kind of feel the coppery taste of blood as it gushes into your mouth as you bite into it with your teeth. It's almost this soft as you feel your teeth bite into the sinew and meat as it splatters and then finally goes down your throat. He has whiskey poured down for everyone. so you can definitely knock
Oh,
it back.
my mouth is watering over here in real life as much as it is in game life.
I'm definitely going to drink the whiskey because my tum tum is still not not in perfect shape. So I kind of want that to kind of numb the pain a little bit.
That's good. Do you guys eat the meat? The other two?
Sure.
Yeah, not that it's an important thing I need to know, but
I'm just gonna pick at it, but I'm gonna eat the potatoes, and I don't know if I'm gonna eat the meat. I'm not a big, because I got it. My stomach's still not great.
Tum-tum.
Again with the thumbs up.
I got to kind of like be cautious of,
Yeah.
it's kind of full.
I might
kind of
be
full of lead.
slightly concerned, but I also have been eating primarily lawn potatoes for the last couple of months, so some meat sounds great.
And as you're kind of biting it, you notice Marta's hand kind of reach over, and he seems to want to take yours, Charlotte's.
Okay.
He looks at your hand, calloused a bit. It's definitely hands that have seen violence, and he kind of pats your hand and goes back to eating his steak. Charlotte's, assuming everyone. I'm sorry. What you guys introduce you guys as? I just keep seeing the name, but yeah, what would you guys introduce yourselves as?
Oh no, I would have used my alias of Natalie Schlossman.
Yeah. I would have
right.
used,
Oh, I thought that Charlotte was the alias.
No, Natalie's my real name. Natalie is the
Okay.
alias.
Oh, yes, I see it now. Okay, Charlotte Weiss is the real name. So, yeah, I would have introduced her as Natalie Schlossman.
Yeah.
and my cover is Bruno Scarsi.
As we get lost in the covers of the people we're playing as, like,
Right.
Who are we?
Felix knows his way around a.
Do we even know who we are?
I would have introduced them as their aliases.
Yeah. He says, Natalie, I have not seen you in the area.
Oh, I live not far from here, but I mostly keep to myself. The streets have been dangerous. I stay at home and I go to work, and that's about it.
My boys are always wanting people added to the nurse division. A lot of medical needs. I'm sure if you are willing to learn, we could work something out. So something like this, you can have maybe once a week.
I would definitely have to consider it.
Excellent. And how about you, Felix? What can I do for you?
Well, my print shop is now a pile of ash and rubble, so honestly, Rudy, all I really want is an end to this war. But I don't think that you can do that.
No, I trust me when I say the Fuhrer has the perfect plan, and that soon the Allies will be beneath our feet.
Well, actually, there is one thing you can do for me. The Eisenberg house.
Mm-hmm.
Did your soldiers last night happen to find anyone there? We walked past it, and it seemed like it had been really disturbed.
A keen eye. Yes, we heard some intelligence that there was a British spy residing within that place, and we sent some in, and currently they apprehended 2 individuals whose names, of course, I cannot divulge, but they are currently at the Bethania, a place not too far from here.
Oh, did your soldiers say what they were doing? Were they spies?
Well, I mean, all of this is conjecture and rumor, but I think by the end of the week they should talk. They've been quite resilient, so the reports say.
Hmm. Well, we believe that the man we apprehended is a British agent as well. Perhaps you could take all of us to the Bethania.
All of you. And what will the rest of you do at the Bethania?
I'm sure that these two people would like to help the cause.
That is true, and naturally, if you would so acquiesce, I am sure that we can provide your name to the nurse division. Bethania is indeed a old medical facility.
Mm.
And what was it? Bruni Scarsi?
Yes.
Sounds Italian.
It is.
It is now.
A rear for Derchi.
Oh, jeez.
And what part will you play in our venture over to the Bethania?
I will be of service however I can.
So
Wherever
you're willing to-
wherever they see fit.
Excellent. Welcome to the militia. Felix, he's now underneath your command. Of course, it is nothing like the prized and worthy God-chosen warriors of the Nazi regime, but they have their place within the world.
I'm sure that they'll be willing to do what it takes.
Good. One more thing. I noticed your package is... he looks fine, pristine. Certainly not how I like to present to the Gestapo. So, I am sure you've enjoyed the meat I provided you, as well as my potatoes in this lovely dining experience. I would be willing, of course, to bring each of you to the Bethania, along with this individual who undoubtedly will experience such terrors he will never see. Or has never known. But in the meantime, I like to prepare meals as they should be prepared, yes? When you are eating a pheasant or meat in any way, you kind of like it tender. Are you understanding me? This is maybe a little bit too delicate of a conversation for Natalie over here, but... you two individuals, I feel like you might be able to catch my meaning.
You want us to rough up this
Great.
British
I'm
spy.
Hamburg.
Yes. You, of course, have a fork and knife. I would be content to have a finger. You, of course, may choose which finger, and I would like one from each of you. Natalie, you don't have to. This is obviously men's work.
Oh, okay.
But please, you have forks and knives.
Oh,
Place
man.
a finger upon your plate.
I don't know if Felix is going to be able to do this.
I think you should just stab this guy.
He is.
Could we just stab this guy? This guy kind of sucks. We should kill him.
Yeah.
Are there other soldiers around, or is it just us?
Yeah,
and-
you're in a Gestapo office.
So there's just people around.
Yeah,
Oh,
so there's
no.
definitely like a lot of people outside. This would be your final hurrah.
Could I start thrashing about and throwing a fit?
Of course.
Like you know, go into almost a rage because I see what's coming.
Yeah, and you see this man like clap like I like it when they if we had more time I would let him loose in the backyard and we would take our pick of weapons, but
They like to play with their food.
yes.
Got it.
All right, please, a fork and knife. Provide me my trophies, please.
I reluctantly take the fork and the knife, and I walk over to Cecil.
Can I headbutt Richard?
Yeah, you can.
Please let me headbutt Richard.
Yeah, you can headbutt Richard in the face.
Now my nog and my
No.
tum
Tum tum dog dogs.
Oh no.
But yeah, if you guys are going to do it, we can just kind of fade to black on this scene. No need to go into the details. But for Richard as well as Felix, you will have to make a keep it together roll.
Ooh, okay.
What do you think? Are we doing this?
Oh man, I really don't want to.
I mean, they're just pinkies.
All right. He's gonna have to do it. He sees no way out of this situation, and he can't go back to anything. His shop's burned down, so
Just not my trigger finger.
yeah. Okay. All right. So Cecil, Felix has rolled a 13 on his keep it together. Am I still at +1, even though I was destabilized yesterday?
No, so that would cancel out to a 0.
Okay.
You're still kind of dealing with the mental trauma.
Yeah. He took 2 yesterday, so all right. So that's a 13.
All right, cool.
Yes.
So you are definitely able to kind of
Keep it together.
Yeah. And I will say you will be haunted by the experience at a later time.
Okay.
Felix, you will see the
this.
rage and the fire in my eyes as you do this.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that expression. I want it to haunt your dreams.
Exactly.
Felix just looks apologetic. He blames himself for not finding a better way out of this.
I rolled a 19, but then I get the -1 for my serious wound.
Oh, you're
right?
fine. Yeah.
So yeah. So I have no problem after that hit to the nog. You know, it just kind of fuels me even more. Like I don't even really kind of feel bad now because he hit me in the head. Like I was gonna kind of feel bad that I was doing this, but then lashing out. I'm like, nah, okay.
And you're nog, right? It's just, it's perfect. You're gonna have a headache. I was
gonna like cut off a pinky, but now I cut off the ring finger instead.
Cecil, you definitely take a serious wound. So enjoy that.
Have fun with that.
Yeah. Did we take them off different hands, or did we take them all off one hand?
It's up to you guys.
What do you think, Margaret? What should we have done?
Say, we'll trigger fingers out of it, but I don't want to injure both of his hands. So let's do. I'm assuming that Cecil is right-handed. So let's do these 2 on his left hand, pinky and ring finger on his left hand.
All right.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. So we got the 3 fingers left.
Whew.
Mm-hmm.
And once the fingers are placed upon the plate of Capitan, he kind of, enjoys the rest of his dinner and encourages you guys to do the same.
Okay. Yeah. Felix is shaken, and he can't bring himself to eat. He tries, but he can't bring himself to eat any of the meat. He just eats the potatoes.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a weird scene as he, despite the inhumanity of it all, he's like talking about the weather and like a wedding he's planning for like in a couple of weeks, and like, he's gonna go to his lake house maybe in a couple of days. Yeah, like it's just like, and he has just kind of moved the finger on the other side of his plate, and he's still like eating away at his pheasant and potatoes. Yeah. But afterwards, after this kind of weird conversation, he gets you guys into a truck. And you guys are kind of in the back of this truck filled with Nazis as you guys are transported to the worst place on Earth. Probably.
Oh
maybe.
boy.
This
Mm.
will be fun.
The Bethania.
So as you approach this place, it kind of goes up to the mountains, and you notice the clouds are kind of overhead, and a little bit of rain starts to come down. Out, just kind of at the tip of this this rocky area, you see this old medical ward, and I think the more appropriate title would be asylum. It has like these bars rusted over on the windows, but right behind it are nice lace curtains. There's several soldiers milling about, as well as a guard tower with razor wire kind of surrounding the whole place. You guys go through a checkpoint and then 2 others before you finally park in the center of the place. And it looks like this place was a garden at one point in time. There's this beautiful fountain that's been chipped away, depicting a woman almost looking up desperately towards the sky. But it's been chipped away and water no longer comes from it. People look cold, and you can almost see the breath from people's lips as they move around. Martez the whole time has been talking about, like, what he's going to do after the war, and he's in high spirits as he goes through the whole thing, and finally he's like, we are here. I am always excited to bring another prisoner here. They never see the light of day, and that's just not just a phrase. Literally, there's a place down below where you cannot see the light of day, and they never come out. It's quite interesting because you think phrases are kind of an exaggerations of stories you've heard when you are a kid, but in this case, it's very well true.
How long has this place been here? I didn't hear anyone else on the party talking about it. I haven't heard the name Bethania.
Yes, it's been here for quite some time under different names and the like. Of course, when we seized it, it became a requirement to keep it sort of hidden away, and a lot of people who did know about it, never to see the light of day. Ergo the phrase.
Understandable, I suppose. So why exactly were you taking this place? I'm guessing it's not just for regular prisoners.
No, these 2 that we captured, is definitely, most likely associated with the British Army. But really, the only way to get information now, really the truth, is via long and excruciating torture. I find that often you don't find the truth of something until someone has gone through adversity. I'm sure someone such as you, Felix, can understand my sentiment.
I feel like I'm a man who's well acquainted with adversity, so I think I understand what you're about, Rudy.
Which is why I trust you, and why I have not sent anyone to take you from your home and place you here. It's a joke, Felix. You should. It was a funny joke. I think you should laugh.
He laughs comfortably. Of course.
Natalie, let me help you out of this truck.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
It's such a lovely day. I love rain. It makes me think of home, really. Let's bring this one inside and prepare him. And you 3, you of course have come. And what happens now?
All right.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
I guess. So we're outside the building right now, and everything's cold, like unusually cold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Felix is.
I feel like I should stay with Cecil as much as long as I can. So I'll try to kind of stay back, but try to make sure that I keep him in my eyesight, and that we because we still have a mission to accomplish, even though he only has 8 fingers.
Yeah, and they kind of wheel him out, bringing a wheelchair over and strapping him to it. The back of the wheelchair kind of straps around his head too, kind of pressing him against it. And they definitely
not making it easy for him either.
No, oh yeah, it's a whole fight as some of them kind of squeeze your fingers, and like you can see the dribbling
blood
down.
come through.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that rage later. It's just building up.
So Mart, look at you guys. Why don't you accompany this fine gentleman to his quarters, along with the rest of the soldiers? Get him nice and tucked in, and he kind of looks at his watch. About an hour. Let's have tea on the balcony.
Sounds lovely.
Very well.
Excellent. I look forward to. I hear that there's a we have several prisoners that have finally reached the end of it, and you could see for yourself. And you notice that there's several poles with kind of bullet holes in it, with a wall just behind it. He says, "Yes, we should have a lovely time for our tea.
Oh.
So please go forward. You've done a great job."
Okay. I guess Felix is gonna play along with it. He's kind of trying to follow Richard's lead because Richard and Cecil were his contacts, but he has no idea what's going on here, and he also doesn't really know what their mission is. So,
it's like, why are we here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
I'm going to just motion to Felix that just to stand, just to go along, and everything will be fine.
All right. So, yeah, I guess we'll continue to follow Rudy Martez.
All right. So Charlotte, because of your sisterly love and such, we're going to let you do a roll, and we're going to hope good things come from it. But it is see through the illusion. So you're going to roll 2d10 plus your soul.
Oh my. Okay. That is going to be a 15.
Ooh, nice. So as you're looking at this place, it has a different look to it than you kind of can even believe. Parts of the building are beautiful. What once was crumbling bits of it, they're now like this pristine white with gold edges, and it looks almost heavenly like, with sparkling jewels etched into it. You see people as you're kind of going forward. People are bandaged with their eyes and stuff. People who are recovering from the efforts of the war. But you see one nurse, and kind of the surrounding areas around the mountain look dark and almost like it's nighttime, which with hints of red tended to it, and even some large structures up top these mountains that you didn't recognize before but seem to stretch into the sky. But this nurse who gazes at you with a slight smirk on her face. There's something odd about her, and as you look closer at her, you realize she has no eyelids. They're just kind of stitched on to the top. She smiles at you with what looks like teeth, but they're black and they're pointed. It looks like she's missing several things that are common to the human anatomy, and kind of a look that you associate with beasts. She has that same look as if predator to prey as you move closer to her.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, for everyone else, it's like this nurse.
Yeah, my soul is really low. I think I'm like, I'm -2, so.
Who needs souls, right?
Yeah.
As we move past this person, this weird person question mark thing, I don't know what she is. Once we moved a little bit out of earshot, I just turned to Felix and Richard and said, "There's something very strange going on here. There's some of these people aren't people."
What do you mean?
I mean, there's something else. They're not right.
That's a nurse. That's
No, there's something wrong. She's not human. Just be on the lookout and let's get out of here as quickly as we can.
Yeah, and you feel a poke, Charlotte, from behind. Turning around,
And
you see that same nurse behind you. Do you have a cigarette, dear?
oh, I don't smoke. Felix, you usually have a cigarette on you.
Does he?
Yeah. So you
Okay.
have a cigarette.
All right.
You have like one you've been keeping for the right moment.
As much as it pains him, because the soldier asking for a cigarette was what started all this whole horrible night for him.
Yeah, you and cigarettes, not a good combo.
Don't smoke, kids. Keep PG. So Felix takes out a cigarette and he hands it to her. He's unnerved, just based on how now Charlotte is acting. But right now, to him, this woman still just looks like a normal nurse.
Yeah, she has like brown hair that's set in a bowl cut with this kind of meek, mouse-like face, smiling at you. And you offer the cigarette. She takes it. I see you are bringing someone in. I usually address such individuals to make sure that they are ready for what happens next. And she motions to the other guards and kind of waves them away, and they retreat, leaving you four by yourselves here on the steps heading up to the ward. Take him up. Follow me. I wish to speak.
Okay, I guess we follow her. As we're walking, Felix is going to, to Felix, she still looks normal. So he's going to ask her, "Do you know what happened to the Eisenberg house? Did you find anyone there who might have been brought here?"
I'm just a nurse, but when we get into some private chambers, maybe we can talk a little bit more. And she continues walking up. Charlotte, as you're walking behind her, you feel like you're still being watched. And you can even see some other nurses staring at you from the window. And as you look back, you notice that they're gone. And as you move forward, you can almost see a smiling face gazing at you between the veils of the back of her hair. Almost like a child's eyes creeping out from the hair and looking at Charlotte with a curious look. Everything's okay.
No.
Fine.
No.
You guys enter in a room, and you hear screaming from down the corridors as she turns to you, and you see her place a hand upon the shackles that hold Cecil to this chair, and with unbelievable strength, they snap. And then the leather strap snaps as well. From Charlotte's viewpoint, you could see this almost tentacle-like claw wriggling from her fingernails, that it extends and it rips the leather off. But for everyone else, it's just, she must just be strong or something. I don't know.
Wow. I know, isn't that crazy, Charlotte? She's super strong.
So she breaks the shackles and removes the straps.
Yep.
So I'm free to get up.
Yeah, you are.
I will abruptly stand up and like kind of shake off any bits of shackles or strapping or anything like that, and just kind of hold my hand and look at my hand.
May I?
And I'll hold out my hand.
And she takes it and looks at it. I will resist. Please take your hand back.
Yeah.
She kind of moves her tongue along her finger where there's still like a speck of blood on it.
Mm-hmm.
You're here for... What are you really here for?
Who is she addressing this time?
Just kind of everyone.
Yeah, everyone in
Okay.
the room.
I look to Cecil.
Okay.
And I look at the nurse and I'll say, "We're here for Isabella. Where is she?"
Well, she's down in the basement, but that's kind of relative. And really, what we call the basement, you might call a darker place. A name which I won't speak here, but one undoubtedly you'll become ever familiar with if you decide to continue down and rescue her. But there's others down there too. Do you just want Isabella? Is that it?
Yes.
Oh, no. What about Nicholas? I'll whisper over to Cecil. But what we're supposed to be here for Lawton. Remember?
Yes. How could I have forgotten?
When you say
I don't
Lawton,
know, Richard.
a
And
reaction.
all the.
Do you know Lawton? Does that trigger anything for you, Felix?
The name Lawton would ring a bell for Felix, but he won't say anything.
Well, me and my sisters are willing, of course, to part with Isabel, you say, and this Lawton figure. We just want one thing. There is a man in the depths of the place, a man named Max Wester. I would like you to... How does this phrased? When you are still, you're no longer moving. Your lifeblood sits in a pool beneath you. You are no longer living, but you are
Dead?
There we go. I would like you to...
Kill Max.
Yes.
Dead him. Okay.
Anyone else there? Other than the two that you want, I will take that as a lovely trade. But anyone else, if you want to save the others, we would demand a trade 1-for-1. Does that sound fair?
I'm game. I have things to do, so
Excellent.
I need to get on with this.
As long as we can get him out.
Right.
Excellent.
Yep. Okay. I'm afraid of who we're going to see down there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you're going first, Richard.
Oh.
Felix just says to Charlotte, why did she not know what dead was? She's a nurse in Berlin now.
A human.
Then what is she?
I don't know.
And the lights kind of flicker on and off, and for the briefest of seconds, each one of you no longer see the nurse, but something that's just anatomically incorrect, stretching out to heights you've never seen. And is it crawling on the ground, or is it crawling on the ceiling? Is its face in front of you, or is that its eyes, its teeth wiggle out? And there is a darkness within its eyes that make the person you just had lunch with seem like innocence.
I told you.
Well, we didn't know.
Also, everyone, keep it together.
Yeah, right. I feel like there's a roll. Oh no.
Oh. Ew.
Ooh.
Doesn't sound like keeping it together.
Not sounding great.
That's a
No.
12.
I also got a
10.
12.
I got a 10.
Felix got a 4.
Oh my god.
Oh no, Felix.
Yeah, she looked normal before.
I'm-
so she is
I'm
shocked.
surprised it's taken that long to have that of a horrible of a roll.
Yeah. So everyone who got a 10 through 14, which I think was everyone but Felix.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are able to kind of, whatever you do to cope, you were able to bite down either on your tongue or, bite your fingers, whatever you need to deal with this amount of stress. You can do it.
Don't bring up fingers.
Oh, poor guy.
So.
You are definitely going to take a -1 stability, and I think scared would probably be the appropriate feeling. But for Felix, this is a little bit more tough. You're starting to lose control of yourself, and you take -2 stability as you start to shake, and there's nothing you can do about it. The shaking kind of creeps up from the depths of your soul, and whatever instincts tell you to run, it is telling you that you should have been gone a while ago. And yet you are here in this room, locked with this thing.
So before I had a -2 stability from last night. So that would put me at -4.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So yeah, Felix, he goes white as a sheet. His eyes bulge out of his head, and he just starts shaking and looking at the nurse. He turns to Charlotte and says, "We have to get out of here. We have to run."
We have to finish what we came here for.
No, we can't look at that thing. You're right. They're not human. We have to get out of here. It's useless.
Yeah.
We have to leave them.
She moves forward, and Charlotte, you see this. Her hands are probably about twice the length of yours as she reaches out and places both palms on either side of Felix's head, and with an almost mother-like tenderness places her lips upon his forehead. It's okay, Felix. It's all right. Mama's got you.
Oh no.
The basement, if you would, is this direction.
Hmm.
And you don't know when you came to stand in front of it, but now you do. And before you are staircases that lead into you can only imagine to be oblivion. Red light erupts from this dark portal into whatever this could be. And you can almost hear the shrills and screams from a place that you have only dreamt of in your nightmares. She points a long finger down.
I push Richard forward.
Richard just goes tumbling down.
And I'll be like, ow, my head, ow, my tummy, ow, my head, ow, my tummy, ow, my head, ow, my tummy.
My tum-tum.
Yeah, so I guess I go down the stairs because that's where Cecil pushes me down.
Excellent.
I'll follow right behind Richard.
Excellent. And who after that?
I'll go next. I'll go next and kind of try to drag Felix along.
Terrified Felix will bring up the rear. He
Come on, Felix.
absolutely does not want to go down these stairs.
Yeah. And as you guys go down, Charlotte, looking behind, you notice that there's now 7 of these nurses smiling at you from the top of the staircase. Several steps are in between you, and it almost extends out to be about like 20, as if you're looking at dark silhouettes above you. But beneath, you notice that there are several hands, almost anxious and eager to have you come down the stairs, each one decomposing in various states. And that's where we'll end it.
Ugh.
No, wow.
That was Kult! Woot woot!
Cool.
Well,
I'm going to remind folks, if you want this lighthearted comedic RPG, no, if it is definitely for mature audiences, so definitely keep that in mind when you take a look at the Kickstarter. But please, if you enjoyed this setting, please go check out the Kickstarter in the description of this video. If you are at this point and you enjoyed this session, please hit that like down the like button down below and join us and hit that by hitting that subscribe button. Look at that beautiful, beautiful book.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
It's so nice.
Yeah,
it is.
the art in this book is like insane.
It's amazing. Bastion de Harm does the cover art, and the art inside is just as beautiful. It is a gorgeous book. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we really appreciate Mitchell. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Running
This was a unique challenge, and I hope I was able to accomplish it.
You did just fine.
Well done, man.
I will tell folks that if you're tuning in for the first time, we do try to keep our content fairly all ages appropriate. I know with a game like Kult, it's a little difficult.
Challenge with a horror
But
game.
Mitchell stepped up to the call and came through splendidly. It was it was
Just
very,
replace
very good.
everything with tum-tums.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I really appreciate everybody that has tuned in, that is watching this live and is watching this after the fact. Please hit that subscribe button. That only helps us. That helps us out tremendously. And also hit the like button, because we want this actual play to get noticed by so many more people. Because we want to see Helmgast and especially Kult just grow. And thank you to the players. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you for coming back on and being
You guys
awesome.
were brilliant. Oh man,
so much good. So
No,
good.
you were brilliant, sir. You sold the tone and the depth
Oh.
of this game. It was fantastic. I mean, you really put me in the setting. I don't know about everyone else.
I was
But-
giving it great descriptions.
Yeah.
Of really gross things.
Oh.
Very, very well done.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I can't say that. I can't. Nope, don't. Skip that. Skip that.
And honestly, we played for well over 2 hours, but the first hour like flew by.
Oh my word! It was
Yeah.
just crazy.
An intense game.
You guys,
Yes,
a lot
it
of stuff
was.
happened. But you guys were great. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Mitchell. We'll have to have you on again. We love having you on. So and everybody that's on this show, thank you so much. And we'll more than welcome to come back whenever you'd like. So, all right, folks, that's going to do it for this session of Kult Divinity Lost. Go check out the Kickstarter. Be safe, be well, and remember, winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.